So hello and welcome back to the channel. We'll continue our series about login model. So now if you click on it, well, it doesn't look like a component that can be used for a login at all. We miss the buttons, we miss the input fields. So in this episode, we'll build our login model and actually make it work with the state, and we'll also do some styling to make it look smexy. So first things first, we will need a new component for that. So let's create one. I'll call it login model ESX. Okay, and actually let's start with something else, because our responsive model works really good, but we miss one important thing in our base model wrapper, as we call it. I would like to have a way to provide as a prop the inside of login model, the components that we should render. And we could do that by passing the children. We know that very well, but we can also take another approach and have something like a content type React node here. React node, come on. Okay, and we can pass additional JSX to our component via prop. Okay, yeah, let's just do that. Satisfy compiler. That should help. Okay, so given that, we can pass additional JSX to our component, right? And we can just render it here. So let's see how that should work. Unpack the props. Okay, so we're rendering the content below the message. Okay, let's see where we can make it work. We are using our modal here. So good, because the props are spread. So now in app.tsx, we can additionally pass something here. Say that the content is just if I am, come on, space work, I am content. Okay, and now not styled at all, but here it is. If we color, you can see that's how we can pass additional JSX. Of course, same could be possible with of children, right? So just to, actually we don't need that, not a prop. If I am content, I am a content. Okay, and this is going back to base model wrapper, and if we render the children, here, then the same effect should take place here. Okay, so you can pick your approach to that problem, right? Both are good, I think. Maybe it feels more natural, actually, to use children, right? So I don't know. Let's stick with the content just for fun, because this is something else, right? And then you'd have self-closing component. So all that. All we need is this. Okay, so that's how you pass additional JSX to the component that exists. By a prop or by using children are also a prop. Okay, let's check out our login model finally. So let's define some props that we'll need. Well, of course, we'll do pass on backdrop click, right, to be able to close that. We need is modal visible passed, and additionally we can pass login error here because your login might fail, and let's see, on login requested function that should return a promise of void and should take two arguments here, and this is going to be login value. Actually smart about it, create an additional interface, but login function, and it will, let's create additionally login args interface, and this is going to be password string and the login there. Could be using username, but sometimes when you log in, it's either username or email, so login covers both of these. Actually, that's going to be a type. And promise void, because we'll do asynchronous call here. And this is login function. Okay, now it looks like it makes sense. So these are our props. On backdrop click function to close the model once it's open. Is model visible? We'll need this to decide where render it on the screen at all. Login error to display some validation error if we have one. And on login requested, the way that our app should call some authentication service to validate where user can log in. So let's unpack stuff that we need. Is more visible on backdrop click on login requested. I believe that's all. So now we will use our girlfriend Modal RWD, sorry. It's a self-closing type because we're not using children, we're using content. And let's pass the basics. Pass on backdrop click is more visible. The header login message, let's call that please log in. So that's cool. Now, the content is going to be an interesting part because what we need actually, a fragment right here, are two inputs and two buttons, I think, right? Because we need to pass the password, the login. One button we'll use for logging in, and the button next to it will be something like a cancel or close button, right? I know that we can close our model with the backdrop click or by pressing X, but additional close button is, I feel, something good to have in our UX. Okay, so we need an input, can be self-enclosing. We need another input, and then we need two buttons. Gonna be cancel, and then another button is in or login. Okay, let's see how that looks. It doesn't, because we're not rendering that. So let's go to the app.testx, get rid of that, and let's render the login model, passing all the stuff that we need. So on backdrop click, then on login requested, we'll just do something real simple right now. We can say, we can export that type, I believe. Come on. And say that this is login function. Therefore, we need to declare this as an async, and we should get cool out completion here. Login. Okay, and let's just install another word. Password. Okay, let's pass that here. This is this. Okay, that should be good. We don't need that anymore. So here we are just passing the props that we need to our login model, right? And we specify type of that function just to get this cool auto completion. Yeah, so okay, that's something good. The problem is it looks awful right now. So let's try and fix this. So one thing that you often see, and I would like to add, is an icon next to the input so that user can automatically know and correlate what value should go to which. So we need an icon for the password and for the user login. So let's see where I can bring that in real quick. That's not working. That's not working either. Oh. I have them prepared already. I got them from some website, and we will need to add information about use of that icons. We will not be chasing by anyone about that. Add that. This is a padlock icon, and this is user icon. They're both SVGs, 512 pixels, if I remember correctly. Let's just quickly add the annotation here about the use of that icons. This is taken from flat icons. You don't know them. This is a great source for icons. If you need one fun to project, you can buy off. There's a premium account and stuff like that. But what I did was basically type in password, and then I found one of the icons that I can fit for our purpose, right? Some of these are premium. You can decide to pay for this if you'd like. You can use anything, any kind of SVG. You can use material icons. It's really up to you. Okay, but with that done, we can then start working on our inputs, right? So what I will do is I will create a new component, and I will call it input with icon tsx. Okay. So here we'll change that to type, because we need two things. One is optionally our icon, which is JSX JSX element, right? And then type, the name is of course input with icon props. Okay, and then, well, we need to have a way pass every single attribute that can be passed to an input HTML element back to it. So I would like for a user to view this input as a transparent interface. So you can pass a type here, a value on change handler, anything you'd like, and it should be added to an input inside of our input with icon element. Okay, therefore I can use the intrinsic attributes and pass an input here. Okay, intrinsic elements, sorry, that's right. Okay, so let's take a look. Take a look at the intrinsic elements interface in React. You can see that it defines set of attributes for most of well-known HTML elements, right? Like input, header, stuff like that. Okay, so this will translate. As you can see, I can use a value here, on change, on click, on key down, anything that you should be able to slap to standard input in React can be added here to our input with icon. And then it's really easy, because what we need here is icon and the rest of the props, and we will return input container. We'll create it shortly. And now, oh, well, maybe let's create it just right away. Okay, so what we need is styled from side components. And let's go with the input wrapper first. And this is just a style div with some styling. It's going to be margin set to 0 auto. Display set to flex. Align icon center. I'm not great at CSS. I'm more of a JS guy, but I have something decent prepared here. Background none. None. Border is none. Focus, just to get rid of this hideous outline, is none. That should work. Okay, so this is our basic input wrapper. Now, this coffee is good. Coffee? I never know. Okay, never mind. And now for the input container. It will extend our input wrapper. So it's gonna be input container style input wrapper, because the input wrapper is just like base set of styles that you can use across your app to create different inputs, and this one is specific for our case. So no, I got that. What I want is margin bottom 10, just to give the separation, with font size will scale 60%. We'll add the border 1px solid gray and padding of 5 pixels. Okay, this is looking good. So we have our input container. Then, if someone decides to pass icon here, we will render our icon inside icon container. Okay, let's create that. Icon container, and this is style div. Simply something with a fixed width and a little bit of padding. Offset the input from the icon. This is good. And then the input itself, the one that we'd like to render. Let's create more input, and this is styled input. Display set to inline block. Outline none. Padding, yes please. Same goes for margin. And we'll add text indent just to push text a little bit from the border. Okay, I will show you shortly how this one works. 8px, and here we'll create our modal input, and we'll just spread the props here. Okay, so that's all. A little bit of styling, right? And this is not working because types property of ref. Doing the ref here. Okay, yeah. Need to commit that too. Okay, yeah. You have to unpack and ignore the ref prop. So let's see how this works now. Problem is how to bring the SVG icons to React to make it work, right? But actually, nowadays, React has the functionality of properly reading and rendering SVG icons built in. So what you do is you specify the path to it, and this is assets user SVG. I will add this to repo, and then you do React component as React component as login icon, and next you do React component as password icon, assets log SVG. Okay, and now what we can do is we can get rid of this and say input with icon, and we can say that type is text for that, and that our icon is okay, login icon with some styles, because if we leave it like this, that real quick, this looks hideous, right? It's too big and it's black. So we'll make it a little bit smaller and we'll make it white. So let's set the width. As you can see, React is so smart that it actually autocompletes. Well, it's not React, it's actually the IDE. It autocompletes the properties on SVG that you can manipulate. So let's use that to manipulate the width. This has to be passed as a string. Remember about the unit, and then fill, change the color. Now we get that, which is pretty cool, except for the fact that our input is black. We'll fix that in a second. And the next one should be input with icon, type password. It's here. And then icon is a password icon with very same, goes for height, and fill is white. Okay. Oh, now it renders correct. Okay, so these look good, and as you can see here, as I mentioned before, we have the text indent, right? And here you can see the difference. Now, next to the border, which isn't so great, and with text indent, you can push it just a little bit from the start. Okay, so that looks way better. Okay, I believe this went long enough for that episode. So in the next one, we'll pair our buttons and then take kind of login process to display an error here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.